In 2012, businesses were asking me, could I please come and teach them how to do all the social media stuff I was doing? So I started in-person classes. I called them old school classes for new technology. And I had people show up with their laptops ready for a 2-hour workshop to learn how to use Facebook for business or Twitter for business. And at the end, without fail, at the end of every single workshop, people would sit there with their eyes just glazed over. And they said, can you please just do it for me? And so that started my social media management branch of my company. Well, around that time, I was invited to speak at a state convention for a nonprofit. And of course, before I would teach social media, I did my due diligence and I did my research on this nonprofit. And when I got to the state convention to teach them how to do social media, I said, you guys, you're doing a lot of things right. First, let's celebrate those things. You've got your state Facebook page. You've got your local community Facebook pages. I said, but what I don't see is what you do and who you serve. I said, I honestly don't know what your organization does beyond take group photos together in your blue and yellow vests. And so I said, can anyone in here tell me the story of who you serve? And a woman in the back raised her hand and she said, well, I have a story. We do vision screening and for kindergartners. And we found this little girl who had a genetic disease in her eyes. And unfortunately, we weren't able to save her vision. One of her eyes, we just weren't able to save it. We weren't in time. But because it's genetic, we could save the vision of her little sister. I said, boom, there it is. That's the story. That is exactly what is going to get people to join your cause, to volunteer, to open up their checkbook or click the donate now button. And stories are powerful. The reason stories are powerful is because we're pre-programmed to hear stories. When you think of growing up, you know, you weren't told your family history in bullets, right? You didn't hear bullet points. You heard stories like, so when I was a little girl, I would walk to the store with my mom and my sister, and on the way back, we would get hamburgers. And one time I was so mad, it was such a treat, but I was so mad at my sister that I threw my hamburger on the ground. And a few blocks later, I realized that didn't hurt anybody but me because they're still eating their hamburgers, right? And that's actually a story from my childhood that I heard, and now it's become a euphemism for, you know, don't, like we tell each other, don't throw your hamburger down. And so that's what we need to do as attorneys, as business owners, as people who want to market. We need to tell our stories. Now, how do we tell our stories? We tell our stories in many different ways. It's in our messaging through any form of marketing, and I should say every form of marketing. And so we can write a blog post. We can do a Facebook post. We can do live speaking. We can do video and live video. And what I'm going to share with you today is why you would be interested as a professional to tell your stories on video. So Travis probably filled you in on my background with live streaming. So the same thing that that drew me to Twitter back in 2008 is the exact same thing that attracted me to live streaming in 2015. It was with the app Periscope. And so I saw the exact same thing. I saw people making real connections. I saw business being exchanged, and I saw the world becoming smaller and smaller. And so what I want to share with you today is why video is a great reason for you to consider getting your story out. So we're going to talk about video victory, overcome fear, and live stream like a pro. So why video? There's one number that I want to share with you. Before I continue, can you guys see my slides?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So can anyone guess why the number 82 is up there? Any significance? I'll tell you. 82% of all content online right now is video.
Wow.
And so if you aren't doing video with your firm, chances are your competition is, or they're about to. But even more so than video, why would you live stream? Like, that's vulnerable. Everyone I talk to, they're afraid to go live because they don't want to look stupid. They don't want to say the wrong thing. And they certainly don't like the way they look or sound on video. So why would you take the steps to overcome that? A primary one is you can establish authority and credibility. And you already have the expertise. You've already spent the years becoming the expert. Now you can demonstrate it to the people who you can most likely serve with your practice. It increases the know, like, and trust factor, even more so than recorded video. And here's why. When you're on live video, and we can even use this as an example, anything that can go wrong with the tech. In fact, we started late because of the time zone mix-up. So what happened there is you got to see how I respond live to something that couldn't have been edited. If we were just doing a video that was, you know, recorded, all of that could have been edited out and you still don't know exactly who I am. So you increase the know, like, and trust factor. So ask yourself, how important is that as an attorney, right? Build relationships. What we want to do is have your prospective clients feel like they already know you before they walk in the door. One of the most intimidating places to walk into as a layperson is a law office. It's very scary the first time you're walking in. You're coming in to share something that probably you don't want to tell many people. And now here's somebody brand new and you don't really know them and you don't know if you can trust them. When you have live videos that people have either watched live or on the replay, they feel like they know you. In fact, last year I was at an event in downtown Boise, and this woman like was running, it felt like slow motion, running towards me. And she came and I didn't know her, and she came and she hugged me and she said, I feel like I know you. You must be doing something right. And that's what we want your clients to feel when they walk into your office, right? And another reason to live stream is a call to action. So at the end of every live stream, when I am working with my clients, I teach them that make sure you have a call to action that makes sense for the live stream that you just did. So example would be if you're a personal injury attorney and you just talked about how you, you know, a story of a client that you helped. Now you want to make sure that your call to action is maybe a free download for someone, the top 3 things you have to know when you get in an accident, something that makes sense. And then the power behind that, of course, is you are collecting their data, their email. Now, top of mind awareness, it cannot be, it simply cannot be understated, or overstated. It's important. Let's just underscore that. So it wasn't long ago that the top of mind awareness for attorneys were the people who could invest the most money in the fancy billboards and the ads in the phone book and the TV ads and the radio ads. But there's a huge shift now because most people are spending time on their mobile devices. So when you are live streaming regularly, the people who need you will be seeing you more often. And maybe more powerfully, the people, the loved ones of the people who need you, right? So one of the attorneys that I've been working with, he works with DUIs. So his target demographic is the college age students in his area. But Facebook makes so much sense because who's spending most of the time on Facebook and watching the Facebook live shows? The parents of the college students, right? And that's the person who's probably going to make the call when it is time to help their youngster. Okay, so how to live stream like a pro. And by the way, if you guys have any questions, feel free to interrupt, or there's definitely time at the end where I can jump in with, where you can jump in. So how to live stream like a pro? Number one, we need to help you overcome fear. And I've got some steps on how to do that. Number two is the exact equipment needed to get started. Great news, you probably already have all of it. And then we're gonna go over the 5 things you must do before you go live and the 1 thing to never do. So first, let's talk about fear. Now, everyone that I know is afraid to go live. They don't like the way they look. They don't like the way they sound. They don't wanna look stupid. And, you know, that's all valid, especially as a professional. Especially as a professional. One of the worst things that I've heard marketing coaches advise their clients is to just start going live without any preparation and do it every day for 100 days or 30 days, whatever, because you will shoot your credibility. That's why I'm going to go over these steps with you so that you feel really comfortable going live. So, tricks to overcome fear. Realize that going live isn't about you. It's about the people that you help and that you serve. And just simply making that shift can get you out of the mindset of what are they thinking about me, right? Number 2, watch other live videos, and not just in your industry. Watch a lot of other people who are going live so that you can really find out and fine tune your style. And I'm gonna go over this a little bit more later. Now, plan the basic structure of what you're going to say. Know what you're going to say before you go live. But wait a second, what will you talk about? I put together a free download for you guys that you can grab. This is the video playbook, 6 powerful stories for business owners to tell to attract new clients. And again, these stories, you just simply send a text, JennyQ, to 33777. These stories are not limited to video. Definitely you can tell these stories on video for the exact reasons that I shared with you. But I would recommend that you download this and send it to your marketing director if you have someone on your team who does the marketing, and say, hey, start crafting Facebook messages, not messages, but posts with these stories, because you'll be surprised at how many stories you have to tell. And that's what people will how they will connect with you, because that's how we're programmed to learn. Okay, so now we'll go back to what we were covering. So another trick to overcome fear is practice. And I don't want you to practice live in front of the people who could be your prospective clients. I want you to practice your video skills, either record your video or go live on a test page. Create a private test page on Facebook and just practice going live there, just for you. And then, of course, take action, get started, and don't quit. One of the best pieces of advice that I received when I started live streaming on Periscope is, and it was funny because I got involved when the app was about 3 months old. So I got the advice from someone who'd been there way longer than I was, like a month. And what he said on his live stream was, your first 100 broadcasts are going to suck. So hurry and get those out of the way so that you can be good. Now, good news is, because of the things that I'm teaching you, your first 100 aren't going to suck. But there will be a learning curve, just like there is with anything. Back then, we didn't have anybody teaching us. We had to just figure it all out. So that's what I'm here for, is to help you just super shorten the learning curve. Now, what equipment do you need to live stream like a pro? I've broken it down to a simple acronym, LAVS. So we'll just go over those briefly and then I'll break it down for you. Lighting, audio, video, and stability. Let's talk about lighting. Oh, before we go there, I want to share a story with you just to show you that I am 100% all about this. Now, yes, I'm in my studio. I have all the box lighting. I've got the sound mixer. I've got the wireless lav mic. I've got my HD camera. but sometimes you can't use it or you don't need it. And I would say most of the time you don't need it. So I want to tell you a story of what happened to me last year. I was on the team who was putting together an event to honor George Foreman for his humanitarian efforts. And leading up to that event, I had the honor of interviewing Jim Lampley. I don't know if you guys know Jim Lampley. He's HBO's voice of boxing. I had the honor of interviewing Roy Foreman, George's brother and business manager. And the morning of the event, I got a phone call that said, JennyQ, can you be down at 500 in an hour to interview George? Well, I had to check my schedule. No, I canceled everything, but I didn't have time to run home and get equipment. I didn't have time to change clothes. I had my mobile go kit and I had to just use that. So here's what the viewers saw, right? Looks like a regular live stream. And here's what it was behind the scenes. I love sharing this picture because would you ever think it was a selfie stick tripod and a smartphone? Let's go back. Here I am with George Foreman, the legend, who, by the way, is delightful and wonderful and warm, his whole family. I had such, like, it was, I got to hang out with them most of the day and evening, and it was amazing. So humble. But look at that. I asked one of my colleagues, please take a picture because nobody's going to believe that I interviewed George Foreman with this. So let's talk about that. You've got everything you need. Lighting. It's important when you're going live or creating video that your lighting is on point, coming at your face. So if you're in your office or in your living room or wherever, then turn off the overhead light and sit in front of a window. So when I was interviewing George Foreman, I positioned us, I took my camera, I made sure I had the best lighting possible. In front of us is a huge, huge window. And that's the only lighting we had. So in this particular instance, in this office, what the person would want to do live streaming or creating video from this setup is they would want to move their desk or move their laptop so that the daylight was coming directly in on their face and the overhead light was off. I like the sheer because that's going to diffuse the lighting, but you will want to test it and make sure it doesn't diffuse it too much. Or if you don't have a sheer, then check it. And if your face is bright, and we call it hot, if it's too much lighting, then close the shades or pull a sheer. Audio. Now, if you're using a recent model smartphone, then you are fine on the audio as long as you're between 1 to 3 feet from it. Back when I was in that shot, when I was interviewing George, I did not have any of my mics because I didn't need them. In my mobile go kit, I do have lav mics that are wireless, that are Bluetooth that I could have used, but we just didn't need them. And so if you're going live and there's background noise, then feel free to use your AirPods or your earbuds that came with the with your device. Video, again, if you're using a recent model, and by recent model I mean within 2 years, then you're going to be fine with the video. In fact, the technology has kept up so much that the camera that you get in a recent model phone is better than what you would get with the latest MacBook built-in camera. So be confident with that. I do want to give you a tip. When you're live streaming from your phone, make sure you clean the lens very good so that there's no blur. And then stability. Now, back in the Periscope days, we were so hungry to see what other people were doing. We were fine with shaky cameras. We would tolerate anything, but the consumer has gotten much more savvy, and unless it's a part of your brand, they don't want to see your shaky camera. The good news is you can get very creative with this. If you don't have a tripod that fits your phone, you can use books, you can use boxes, and the thing that you want to make sure of is that The phone is at the height that is equal to eye level with your face, the lens. And I'm gonna show you how to do that more in a minute. So I have set up some on Amazon. So you can just go to store.jennyq.live and you can go beginner gear, or if you want to set up your office, you can do that too with the live streaming gear. But this is just an easy way to grab the stuff that you need to start live streaming. And if you're going the beginner route, honestly, the only thing that I would say that you need to buy right now, if you have a recent model phone, would be the selfie stick. But there's some other fun little gadgets in there if you want to go that way. But the good news and the bad news is I'm taking away every excuse that you think you have to start live streaming, because you just don't need anything more than probably what's in your hand. Okay, so now we'll get more into detail on the 5 things you must do before you go live and the 1 thing to never do. So the first thing is Lurk. And I talked about this a few minutes ago, how I want you to watch other people's live videos, not just in your industry, but I don't want you to watch them for entertainment. I want you to watch them looking for these specific things. I want you to look at the background. I want you to listen to their audio. I want you to see how their camera is positioned. Are they making eye contact? How are they structuring their live stream? What are they saying? Does it keep your attention? Do you see that other people are engaged? I want you to pay attention to all these things. Again, don't stick with your industry, because you'll get ideas from other industries. So for example, I would watch doctors and realtors, and I would look for, I would definitely stay in the professional realm, because you want to mirror and emulate the best of the professional world. You may though get ideas from people who are just live streaming for fun. I don't know, but make sure that you lurk. Now, there are discovery maps. If you just Google Facebook Live map or YouTube Live map, then that will pop up and it will show you everybody who's live at the moment. So you have that little tool. All right, basic equipment we just covered. So I really recommend you start live streaming with what you have. I'm a huge, huge advocate of that. As you grow and as you go, yeah, this is my thing, I'm gonna keep doing this, then think about, you know, getting maybe some better equipment. But the great news there is, even if you wanted to create a studio in your home or in your office, that can be done for under $500 really, really effectively. So it's still not a huge investment that you're looking at. Now look into the lens. This might be one of the most important things to create the know, like, and trust factor. And here's why. I'm going to demonstrate. So this, for most of this presentation, I have been looking into the lens of the camera. Now, can you guys see me very well on the screen, or are you just seeing my, my slides?
We see you, but you're tiny.
Both.
Both? Okay. So just for fun, for this demonstration, I really want to stop the share. Now you can see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is me looking into the lens of the camera. And as I'm talking to you, you probably feel connected, like we're having a conversation. Now I'm going to look at the screen where I can see the picture of you guys. I can see you guys hanging around the conference table, and you can feel the disconnect, right? It doesn't, like, it feels like we're kind of talking, but we're not having a conversation. It's just like if you went to a networking meeting, networking group, after, you know, business after hours, and you were shaking someone's hand, introducing yourself, but you were looking around the room.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so the trick to getting the eye level, it's very basic, you guys. You open your, just open your camera on your phone, turn it front facing, and then move your finger until it blocks the view. Does that make sense? And then you're going to see, then you'll know where the lens is. Now so it's right here, right? It's right here, because I'm blocking it. I want to make sure I'm positioning this so that this lens is at my eye level, not this part of the phone, but that lens. And it's going to be different depending on the position of your phone. So even though that sounds super basic, the payoff is going to be huge in connecting with the viewers. All right. Let's go back.
She's saying not to look at, because then you're not making eye contact with the person. She's saying to look right.
Where you're supposed to be. So,
Did you guys have questions on that?
Yes,
Look right into the camera. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely into the lens. Now, one of the tricks to, it's a tricky skill to learn, I'm not gonna lie, because you feel like you're being rude. This also is useful when you're doing conference calls with a client or a colleague. Look into the lens. You're gonna feel rude because you feel like you should be looking at them, but you will make better connection with them if you can master the skill of looking into the lens of the camera. They are not going to feel, they're going to feel more connected. They're not going to think, why aren't they looking at me? It's a powerful tool. And especially if you're doing video calls with the court, imagine that. You're the one who has your background good, your lighting good, all of the things, and you're looking at the lens of the camera. Ooh, I like that. That's good. Okay. Let's go to the, so it's not advancing here. Let me see. There it is. And then practice. So I talked briefly about some tricks for practicing. Do a test page on Facebook or record video just for you to watch. Or go on your personal profile and adjust the settings so that only you and your mom and your wife and your brother can watch, right? Make sure that it's a safe place for you to practice. And after you do a few of these and you watch them in the background, I mean, not in the background, in the replay, it's very important to ask yourself the right questions, because otherwise we're going to beat ourselves up. That's human nature. We all do it. So these two questions will get you moving forward. The first question is, what went well? That's going to get you the right answer. What went well? And I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes the only thing for me that went well was that I went live. I actually created video. The second question to ask yourself is, what could have gone better? Now you're looking for constructive feedback versus let me beat myself up. What I've learned over the years working with professionals is, you know, about 80% of what we see on ourselves the first time we're watching ourselves on video, about 80% we don't like. We just don't like it. And we're going to be critical. But there's a magical 20% where we go, ooh, I didn't know I did that. That's cool. So focus on that and slowly make changes to the other things that you want to improve. And then, of course, number 5 is be yourself. Through video, like the whole purpose is for people to know, like, and trust you. And through video, the viewers can spot inauthenticity like that, and they will back out of your broadcast so fast. So be yourself. Don't perform. Don't entertain. I mean, you can be entertaining if that's who you are, but if who you are is very direct and straight, then be that. If who you are is very funny, be that. If who you are is very, you know, likable and gregarious, be that. But don't try to be someone that you're not. And here's the one thing to never do. And when I say it, you're probably going to go, oh, yeah, I've seen people do that. And it drives me nuts. And that is wait. And what I mean by that is when you start your live broadcast, don't wait for other people to join before you start delivering your content. So many times I see people say, oh, I only have 5 people. I'm going to wait till more people show up. Well, what that message says to the 5 that you have is they don't count, right? And then the other thing that says to the replay viewers is, I have to sit here and wait. I want to watch the content now. I liked the description. I liked what they said they were going to do. But why do I have to sit here and wait or fast forward or try to figure out where they are? So don't wait. Start with your content. Start with your intro. And make sure that you're delivering the content that you promised you were going to deliver.